This is the plaintiff, Chris. He says he organizes talent showcases for up-and-coming artists, and he held an event where he let the defendant perform, and she hasn't paid him for the performance fee he charges. He needs his money and is suing this rapper for the $1,500 she agreed to pay before she took the stage. This is the defendant, Jacqueline Bennett. She says the plaintiff is unprofessional. The event was a total bust, and to make matters worse, he's now sexually harassing her on social media. Oh, this guy money? No way. She's accused of putting on a show. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $3,000 for sexual harassment.
All parties, please raise your right hand. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Miliano is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Chris, you are suing Ms. Bennett for $1,500 that you claim she owes you, $150 of it the actual debt, and the rest late fee. And you are counterclaiming him for $3,000 for sexual harassment, Ms. Bennett. Let me hear from you, Mr. Chris, first. What's going on here?
Okay. Well, thing is, I have shows every 6 months, okay? And she did a show last year. There was no problem. She paid it. Everything was fine.
Okay, you got to back up. What kind of show are you talking about?
Like a concert show. I do events where...
So you're an event coordinator?
Yeah, I promote shows.
Promoter. All right.
Yeah, I promote shows, and I have other people who will coordinate it for me and everything else.
Okay, and when you promote a show, you showcase what? Singers? What?
I show singers, poets, rappers, models. I have a fashion show. I have entertainment, all kinds of things. Okay. Comedy.
And when you said she paid it, do these performers pay you to be able to be on the show?
Well, how it works is basically how I do it is I charge them for packages for it. Okay. Which comes with, it's either radio play, it can be interviews, and so forth. I don't really charge them to perform.
Right, but they got to pay you what? How much do they have to pay you?
Well, it varies depending on the package. The packages could be from $350. It could be whatever the company is charging is what I would charge for.
Wait, what do you mean the company? Hold on. What's the company? I thought you were the company.
No, I am the company. But what I mean as far as packages, I'm saying as far as packages, where's magazines, where's radio, stuff like that. I have other people who do that. So these are packages that I charge for because they charge for it.
Okay, so you have to eat. So you get a commission or something? How does it work?
Yeah, I mean, I would get a cut out of it.
Okay, yeah. All right. So now, what you had quoted to Ms. Bennett, what kind of a performer is Ms. Bennett?
She's a rapper.
Okay, so you had met her once before, and she had performed at one of your events before. So did you reach out to her for this year, or did she reach out to you?
So I met her through a friend of mine, which is my partner. He's the witness that I have, and he's the one that told me about her. That's when he gave me her number and,
Okay, and who's the one who discussed the fee of $150 with her, you or your partner?
Well, at first he did, and then when she spoke to me, that's when I related back to her.
Okay, so let me hear your testimony first. According to you, you and she had a deal where she was supposed to pay $150, correct?
Yes.
And in return, what was she going to get?
In return, well, first she opened up for a celebrity, which, I mean, that costs hundreds and thousands of dollars, and that's why I looked out for her. So she did do that, but she came there late, first of all, and she was drunk at that, all right? Not only that, then she's going to get an interview, which I set up for like 6 or 7 artists already to get an interview for the show and everything else. So I set that up as well. She's going to get an interview, put on the magazine and everything, and the radio. I can't even put her stuff on the radio because she doesn't have clean music.
All right. So, Mr. Christopher, did she pay you the $150 or no?
Well, not for this show. No, she didn't.
Right. So then why did she get to perform?
Because she asked me to give her an extension till Tuesday after the show. I did that. She wanted me to give her till 3 days after the show because she said she doesn't get paid until then. So I said, fine, okay, no problem.
All right. And then what happens? 3 days after the show, when you're looking for the money, what happens?
Well, 3 days after that, she hits me up on Instagram, and then she says about a money order to send it. I said, yeah. And then she said she was going to send it tomorrow. So I said, well, I thought she was going to be sending it today. And then after that, I heard nothing from her. I heard absolutely nothing from her.
Okay, so then if she owes you $150, why are you suing for $1,500? Why are you suing for 10 times that?
Well, because it's a penalty for all the days. First, I extended the date for her. I extended it for when she's supposed to do it before the show.
I know you're angry. Just how does a lawsuit that's a $150 lawsuit become magically 10 times that size? I mean, if everybody did that, everybody wants to do that, but on what legal theory would you have a right to 10 times the amount? You'd have a right to interest, which would be like $1. I mean, all right, so let me hear from you, Ms. Bennett. What is the problem here?
As far as paying him, I did let him know that I couldn't pay it at the moment. And at the time when I wasn't reaching out, I had a family matter, which is personal. I told him on the phone about. And I know that when I can pay, like first time for the show. But he didn't try to call me back or ask me, can you give me $50 now or $40 later, give me something. You didn't try to do none of that. You got me on national TV right now.
Right, but hold on one second. Did you or didn't you agree to pay him $150 to perform at that?
I did agree.
So then, and you didn't pay him because you told him you'd pay him after the show. So why didn't you pay him after the show like you said you would?
I didn't have the money yet.
Okay, but...
Well, I did, and I couldn't, honestly, I have kids, and I couldn't give you your $150 if I have to take care of something personal at home. That's the honest truth.
Well, what is the reason that you feel he didn't earn the $150?
Number one, it was not professional, and I did not come in that place drunk. You're selling beverages in there.
Okay.
I can admit I bought a drink from your program that you had going on, but I never traveled leaving my kids drunk to come somewhere. That's very unprofessional, number one. Number two.
Were you late? Were you late?
Yeah, I was late, but the first show I came whenever I wanted to. I never was told the time to come.
Okay. So how do you figure out when to come?
That's on the...
I'm sorry, Mr. Christopher. I'm talking now to Ms. Bennett, a.k.a. Sonny Blanco. That's your rap name, is Sonny Blanco?
Yeah, and I'm not even really copywriting yet. That's why I was explaining to them about... That's why I gave them my real name, because I didn't really do my music stuff legit yet. I don't have my music on all platforms. That's why you can't find Sonny Blanco's music. And as far as my music being dirty, that's not true because my husband records me. When I do my music, it's about whatever I've been through, struggling, suffering with my kids.
Okay.
I didn't even get to that stage to be party, happy-go-lucky. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So,
but really, I'm here about that $150 and your claim of sexual harassment because you have a counterclaim against him. Explain that to me.
In the midst of the show, he'll be messaging me on Instagram. So when can we meet? And when you gonna leave your man? Stuff like that.
All right. Now, according to you, Mr. Christopher, was there any sexual harassment going on here?
There was no sexual harassment.
Well, was there any flirting going on here?
It was strictly business. You know, she would switch up. I mean, every now and then she would, you know, first she acts one way, then she'd act another way. First, I'm a good friend to her. And then, you know, she's having all these problems. Oh, I'm so confused. All of this stuff. So I'm like, you know, I'm kind of confused of where she's like kind of going. First, you telling me personal things about your husband and all of this about you. He don't treat you right and all of this. And then now it's like, you know, oh, we're so good friends and all of this. We were so good to, and I had that message on there. It says, she said it on there that we're so good to her and we're, you know, such good friends.
I said that as far as the first show because I met a star. But as far as you being a good friend, no, you're not.
These are what, Instagram messages that you introduced into evidence where you say to her, you too, happy Easter to you, babe, lick, lick.
Yeah, come on, that's sexual harassment.
Hi, I won't have the money until Tuesday after the show. I spent a lot of money on my son's birthday, April 8th. Can I pay you on the 20th? Please, I keep my word. He says, I know, babe, you right. I would like you to be my girl, But that's on
Wow.
you, though. And you say to him, low key, man, you make me happy and I do the same. Set it up for us, you know? Pay for the ride so I come. Well, so were you two flirting with each other?
Yeah, you could say that.
All right. Flirting or no flirting, why is it that you don't pay the $150 that you owe him? Because you don't have it or because you're not supposed to pay it? Because the show stunk. What is your defense?
My defense is the show stunk.
Okay.
It wasn't professional. Are you saying that
Why
we're gonna
wasn't
have
it?
a
Why
radio-
wasn't it professional?
I didn't have an audience, number one. When I performed, there was nobody there.
At what time did you get there?
What time? I think I got there like 6 something, 5 something.
And what time did the thing start?
I think it started at 2. I don't even know.
What time did it
I don't
start,
remember.
Mr. Chris?
The show started at 5 o'clock. She was supposed to be there by 4:30 for sound mic check. It's on the contract, and it states it on the contract.
Okay, so she's
Nobody
supposed to
came
be
down
there
my
for
check when I was
4:30. Did you sign a contract?
Nobody. No.
No?
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She signed a contract with her name on it, and I sent it.
My name is Jacqueline. Sonny Blanco is not my name.
Oh, honey, did you sign Sonny
I don't
Blanco?
have- my name is not.
Did you write the name
copyrighted. My
Sonny
name is
Blanco
not-
on a contract?
What?
Did you write the name Sonny Blanco on a contract?
I did.
Okay, well then that contract says you're supposed to be there at 4:30. All right, so she gets there at 6. According to her, when she performed, what time do you say you performed, Miss Bennett?
I performed late. Like it probably was 8 something. I don't remember the exact time,
All right.
but I know I performed a little late.
So if you had paid the $150 like you were supposed to beforehand, do you think you would be suing him for $150 back because the show wasn't as good as you thought it would be because you didn't have a lot of audience?
No.
All right, well, that's
I
what you're
feel
doing
like-
now by not paying him. Mr. Chris, when she performed, was there a lot of audience?
When she came, no, because she came late.
Okay.
By the time she came, people
That's
were
not-
walking out.
But
because
she's
she
saying
came like
that she
7:30,
said
8 o'clock.
Right, but what time did it start?
It started at 5 o'clock.
And it
She was
ended at
supposed to be there
7:30?
No,
No.
it didn't end at 7:30. It did not end at 7:30. What happened is I had a lot of artists coming in between. As soon as other artists would
All right.
perform, they would just pick up and leave. That's not my fault,
and-
but there was a
That's
crowd.
unprofessional.
Miss
You
Bennett,
got
the
everybody
sexual
at a show supporting
harassment, you're
each other.
suing for $3,000 for sexual harassment. Is it based on the text that you heard me read out loud where you're agreeing to go meet him? And
It's based on him texting me, period.
okay, but you're going to have to make out a case for him owing you $3,000 for something horrible he did. So are there any other texts that you want to show me that he sent you?
I don't have.
All right.
Because
All
I
right.
blocked him. I
Is your
can't go into
husband
the
a
old
witness?
message.
Did you want to call your
He's
husband?
a witness of reading him, of reading.
Okay, let me hear from your
What he
husband.
texted.
Go ahead. Let me bring your
And I
husband.
have a witness too.
How you doing?
Good. How are you? Can you raise your right hand, please? So you can put your hand down. So apparently you found some texts on her phone.
Yeah. Actually, I don't really look at my girl phone, but I see one of the texts when it's sitting by my lap, and my wife is in the kitchen, so I'm just looking, and there's a power or whatever, and yeah, something with the lick emojis, and I'm like, what's this? What's going on? I mean, I had a couple of incidents with her back in the past. We've been together for 10 years, married, 5 kids, 1 daughter. But long story short, I feel like this situation is unprofessional. I do actually do music too. I do beats. I've been doing beats for like 20 years plus. I'm 35. And I've done business with people in the industry, in the industry and off the streets. And the way you do business professionally in the first place is supposed to be contracts, notarized contracts.
Well, they don't have to be
haven't-
notarized. They have to be a contract. But she signed a contract. She admitted it.
I mean, exactly. But at the end of the day, if you sign it, it's supposed to be pertaining to a person or a company, right?
Nah, there's no trick to this. When a judge is trying to figure out what someone agreed to, you're trying to figure out what the understanding was between the parties. A contract should be in writing, but it doesn't have to be. So once she admits to me that she signed it with her stage name, I know she agreed to pay $150. And by the way, I didn't have to be that clever and
this is the way it
that
works with
much
me.
of a
When I do-
detective,
when I
but
do
she
music-
agreed already. She owed him the $150. But tell me about the
Heard you, bro.
text.
I seen the text, and she probably feel guilty about me even seeing it because 9 times 10, the way she think. All right, but I warned her about this situation. When you're dealing with music, all guys think really is about sex. Because I've been in this music industry. Men, You got to be talented and you got to know half the business. With the females, as long as you look good, you can rap da-da-da-da-da. Nicki Minaj, and it don't matter. You're going to sell.
Don't you hit
Look
Nicki
at this.
Minaj on my show.
Sex sells. Sex sells.
Thank you, sir.
It's like you sexy. That's why people watch you.
All right, bring me your wife. Bring me your wife. And Chris, let me ask you a question. You said you had a witness too that you wanted me to hear from.
Yes.
Who is your witness?
He's my partner. His name is Atiba.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Okay, what is your name, sir?
My name is Atiba Washington.
Okay, and are you the one who actually introduced Ms. Bennett to Mr. Chris?
Yes.
All right, did she agree to pay $150 in order to perform?
Yes, she did.
And whatever other package that entailed, photo ops and whatever else. All right, and what time did this party start?
Upcoming artist was supposed to be there 4:30 for sound mic check. 5 o'clock, the show started.
Okay, and what time did the show end?
10 o'clock.
Okay, she came at what time?
She came around a little after 6.
And what time did she perform?
She performed, I would say, like maybe around 8:15, 8:20.
Did she still end up opening for a bigger act?
No.
Okay.
She had the opportunity to meet the other upcoming celebrity, which was Ayana, the artist.
Okay, can I ask you something? Did she, when she, okay, so she took some pictures and she had admitted that, but let me ask you a question. When she performed, was the place empty?
The place wasn't empty, but it was, I mean, there was some people that was left there when artists came and performed. A lot of artists had left. We had a fashion show before then, so the event was long.
All right. Thank you very much. Folks, from what I've heard, it is extremely clear to me that Ms. Bennett owes Mr. Chris $150, not $1,500. All right, so it's $150 that she owes you. So in your lawsuit against her, I am ordering her to pay the $150 because nothing that you've said allows you not to pay the $150. All those other artists who paid on time, their money went to him, and that's it. That's how he does his business. And you don't get to say, well, I only had 10 people and not 1,000, so now I want my money back. That's not how it works. Also, you have a counterclaim against him for sexual harassment. It's interesting that your husband says, I had a problem with her once before because I don't really see sexual harassment. I see the two of you kind of flirting with each other, which is a very dangerous place to be when money's owed, and a very dangerous place to be when you're married, and a very dangerous place to be when you are in a business relationship. But so be it. You did not make out your case for sexual harassment. So the final judgment is in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $150.
So the plaintiff is going to get the $150 from the defendant. Ms. Bennett, let me just ask you, number one, are you surprised the judge found it this way? You can't be too shocked, can you?
I don't have anything to say.
All right.
It's over now.
Well, I'm sorry, you've learned a lesson here, but you got to give Chris his money, $150. Maybe you've learned a lesson from this. Let me ask you, Chris, you're finally going to get the $150. Do you think you ever invite her back again to perform for one of your affairs?
No, because the way things are now, I mean, and to be honest with you, I looked out for her. All
right, you're going to get your $150, and I guess that'll do it for her. Thank you very much, Chris. Good luck to you. Harvey, what do you think about this?
So, Doug, the counterclaim in this case is kind of interesting because the defendant is saying, well, he sexually harassed me, so I want money for that. The judge is saying, look, we looked at the text, and this doesn't amount to harassment because there is a back and forth in these text messages, and the judge concluded this was simply flirting.
What happens if a judge becomes ill or passes away in the middle of a trial? Can a new judge step in and continue, or will a trial have to start over?
Thankfully, this doesn't happen very often. Every now and then, a judge dies in the middle of a trial. It has happened. And there's actually a federal rule of criminal procedure that's on point.
Or maybe otherwise, because you have to kill the judge, and maybe the judge becomes otherwise. I guess if the judge is sick or something, you can just continue it and bring the jury back.
Right. The federal rule talks about the judge being unavailable, absent, sick, or dead. So you could take your pick. But another judge in the federal courts can come in and just take over without missing a stride and continue the trial.
But that's not so in a lot of the states. I can tell you, when we were dating, there was Operation Courtroom in Miami where many like 4 or 5 state judges were arrested for corruption.
Right.
And one of them was in the middle of a first-degree murder trial with a friend of mine.
Right.
And he had to start the whole trial over. They had to declare a mistrial because another judge couldn't just pick up in the middle of the trial.
Or the next judge who came in just was so unfamiliar with the case, felt like he or she couldn't get caught up to speed and declared a mistrial, right?
No, and that one, you had to declare a mistrial.
Okay.
Because it wasn't the same judge.
Right. Well,
so there are places where it has to be the same judge and this trial has to start over.
Well, there was a case in Texas.
Because he was otherwise unavailable because he was in the pokey.
Yes. There was a case in Texas in the 90s where a guy was charged with robbery, and on a Monday the trial starts. It's a jury trial in a criminal case. On Tuesday, the judge has a heart attack and dies. Wednesday morning, when the jury comes back, there's a new judge sitting there, and he goes, "Yeah, don't be too concerned. You know, you can feel bad for Judge so and so because he's deceased, but we're going to proceed and we're going to do our jobs." And the case went to verdict. The guy was convicted. He was sentenced to 99 years, and on appeal, it was affirmed. One of his arguments was they should have declared a mistrial,
right.
You know, and they did not. But so it can be done.
And it mostly can be done, I would say.
Right.
But there are places like the state of Florida in 1990. When was courtroom?
Early 90s.
We were dating. We weren't married yet. When at that time it couldn't be done because it was a huge catastrophe at the state attorney's office. How rude you federal prosecutors were that you couldn't figure out which judges were in trial and just let the murder trial end and then come down since you had been investigating it for 4 years and you could have waited another 4 days.
Could have timed it better.
Yeah, but you know, the feds, what's yours is mine, what's mine is mine. That's kind of how you all operate.
You state prosecutors, I'll chip on your shoulder about us, you state judges, right?
Supremacy clause all the way.
Absolutely. Let's just hope the judges stay healthy, right?
Yeah, how about that?